And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes to us from, I believe this is Johnny Cage, who asked the question, who would fight? Pennywise, obviously the dancing clown, versus Yellow Ring Scarecrow from the Blackest Night storyline. Now, obviously Scarecrow no longer has a Yellow Lantern Ring of Fear, but even Scarecrow by himself would be an interesting matchup for him, but we're adding a Lantern Ring onto that. Now, Pennywise, like there's a group of characters that will continually show up in my Who Would Wins that I'm always waiting for the comments to be like, here we go. Pennywise, Jason, and I think Dante. Those are the big three who I'm always like, okay, look, I will never pretend I know everything about a character, but I feel like I know enough about each character to, especially characters that I've done multiple times, to do proper analysis on them. Now, again, I'm not going to know everything, like I said, but I feel like I can get the job done. But I'll always. Oh, and Mike Myers. I got to add Mike Myers onto that, too. I'll always get people just trying to say, like, dude, what the fuck you don't know what you're talking about. Do you even do your research? Okay, so that being said, Pennywise, the dancing clown. He is essentially an eldritch horror being who, the form we see him isn't even really his real body. It's kind of like a projection of his consciousness into our world. Though in theory, you can see he still has to abide by the laws of the form he takes. So in theory, he can be killed if you do it right. But whether or not you can kill him completely, actually, that's not true. You can kill him 100%, but we as humans can't do it. It's even theorized in the end of the second book that through later Stephen King novels, Pennywise wasn't killed. He was defeated, or she was defeated. It's actually believed that Pennywise is a female. Pennywise was defeated. You can defeat Pennywise, but can you actually kill Pennywise? That's the question. And truth be told, yes, you can, because Pennywise isn't even the top dog in the Stephen King universe. There are individuals that surpass Pennywise in power, or at very minimum equal Pennywise in power. The Turtle equals Pennywise in power. The Crimson King is much stronger than Pennywise and could easily kill Pennywise. There are individuals that supersede Pennywise in power. That said, Pennywise is still in the the top tier of individuals. Like, just because you're in the same tier doesn't mean you're stronger than other individuals in that tier. You're just in a type of power grade that allows you to fit amongst those individuals. I digress, though. Pennywise, though, is, again, an eldritch-esque being who is essentially a counterpart to the turtle. Now, the turtle is a being of creation, whereas Pennywise's species, which actually, Pennywise's species does have a name. Pennywise, one second. I can never remember exactly. They're a shape-shifting type of creature. But yes, Pennywise's species actually does have a name. Let's see here. Commonly known as Pennywise, an ancient alien eldritch entity or monster, a shape-shifting creature known as a glamour. That's what he's called. Who is billions of years old. Basically, they came from the Macroverse, which is a universe. Think of it like just things upon things. Our universe is here, and then about past that is the Macroverse. Now, it's believed that the Deadlights are Pennywise's true form. Basically, and for all intent and purposes, that is really what Pennywise's true form is. Hence, they're a shape-shifting species. Now, there are individuals that are stronger than Pennywise in his universe, but they are far and few between. But still, there's a good couple of them, or at the very minimum, equal to Pennywise. That said, Pennywise, the form female is found as a true physical form of him, or at least the closest our human minds can comprehend. I believe, was it Eddie? I want to say it's Eddie looked into Deadlights, stared for the longest time, and saw like this hairy mess of orange hair or whatever. That was the closest he could interpret it. And it's just because our minds aren't really capable of comprehending something like that. This ability is useful for appearing to a target's, It can morph into any other human, animal, non-human. Basically, Pennywise can turn into whatever it wants to turn into. That being said, it's extremely powerful telepathically, able to actually go into your mind and figure out what your fear is and turn into that. That's what Pennywise likes to do, because fear to Pennywise is like salting the meat. Pennywise prefers kids because they're easier to scare, but he does eat adults too, so there's nothing against that. Yeah, Pennywise has nothing against that ultimately. The Deadlights themselves, this form of this form it takes, is basically, what's the best way to put it? It's, at least in the movies itself, not the miniseries, but the movies, picture as these three rotating lights are capable of either just killing someone instantaneously, or B, they will drive you insane. In the movie, it just kind of puts like a hypnotic coma onto you. Pennywise, though, does have lower tier omnipotence as an immense power, with only Maturin being his equal, and Gone is its only superior. Okay, so there, besides the Crimson King, I mean, Gone, who Gone is uh, Gone is known as God or the Other in the creative overforce of cosmetology of the Stephen King universe. Essentially, yeah, these are, besides the turtle and besides Maturin, who is equal in power to him, Gone is, and again, I think the Crimson King is stronger or at least equal to Pennywise as well. But I'll admit, the Dark Tower lore, that stuff I'm not as well kept up on. But yeah, Gone being essentially the true de facto god is stronger than Pennywise. So he's not the top tier guy, but he is close enough to it. Like I said, Pennywise does have telepathy, able to detect emotions and memories through individuals, though apparently not thoughts, at least not from those who possess enough courage or willpower. His abilities do have limitations. Someone who does not possess a large amount of fear or large amount of willpower that overcomes fear, a lot of his abilities aren't going to work as effectively. If someone doesn't even have any fear of him, same principle right there. But he can control minds and actions of people who are just weaker willed, already having issues. But again, the Losers Club didn't fall in that. Shape shifting is one of his big abilities, obviously turning into anything he wants to. Again, usually taking form closest to the human mind can understand. Or their biggest fear, illusions. You can just make, essentially, he's got a level of reality warping. He can cause whatever he wants to appear, and they can physically harm someone if they believe it's there enough, like the zombies, for instance, or the leeches. Although that's more probably him transforming. He can turn invisible, telekinesis. He can move inanimate objects, psionics, steal people's souls and trap them within the deadlights. Plant manipulation. When in the form of after encounter, he's dead. He touches several plants, causing them to die. It's not an illusion. The effect persists long after. But there's not chlorokinesis. That's more just causing plants to die. That's not chlorokinesis. Chlorokinesis would be something more like manipulating the plants to attack or something. So I don't think that's that. I think that when they're talking about that power, it's something different. Weather control, teleportation, superhuman strength, obviously, speed, and invulnerability. Pennywise declared non-invincible. You can heal at superhuman levels, but the rate tends to vary for unknown reasons. 2017 film, it is stabbed through the head with an iron spike, which merely disorients it as it is able to retreat into a sewer. In the novel, when it manifests as a bird, Howland hits the bird in the bird's eye and feet with broken tiles, and the bird retreats. When Billy and Richie encounter it as a werewolf, it can almost instantly regenerate after being shot in the head with a handgun. It is not a true physical entity, thus it cannot be killed or harmed by conventional means. The ritual of Chud is the only known way to truly harm and kill it. Its resistance can also be affected by the form it takes, as most humanoids that it takes can be harmed in some way, as it abides by the limitations of each of those forms. Its weaknesses, though, it underestimates and scorns all of mankind. In many cases, it leaves openings for victims to take to let them run away. Because of its narcissism, it makes mistakes and does illogical things. The presence of courage and heart are its main weakness. It appears to have a psychological effect and installs fear. Enables it the inability to function properly in its physical form. Hence, lack of fear, showing of courage, is a severe weakness to it. Given that it feeds on fear, it makes sense that courage and heart can overcome it. Once the Losers Club are united, their strong will and share of love for each other successfully overpowers it. This allows them to form a psychic connection and send power to each other, even across distances. It can be taken by surprise and be physically assaulted if the attackers demonstrate no fear of it. Additionally, belief can affect it, such as believing silver, and this is battery acid, now you die. Essentially, having strong belief over something. It's mind over matter with Pennywise, basically. Novel states that it must obey the laws of its form, which means it possesses the vulnerabilities of whatever form it takes. Vampires like weakness to sunlight, winged leeches obeying physics of flight, or salt in their case. Other beings like Gon, who is superior to it, and Maturin, who is equal to it, could kill it. And during hibernation, it may be vulnerable to surprise attacks. So with that being said, that took me about 10 minutes. Pennywise is powerful, but actually does have a lot of restrictions. And remember, let's keep this in mind before I even go into Scarecrow. And I'm not saying Scarecrow's going to win. I'm just saying this is the case here. That how someone functions in their universe, you take them out and throw them into a different universe, you completely change the playing fields. For example, I'm not going to say DC, let's take Pennywise and throw him into the Marvel Universe. Do you know how many individuals in the Marvel Universe could make Pennywise their bitch? It's like, seriously. Let's just take the cosmic beings into account. The one above all is the all and true supreme God. No problem. Because, let's be clear, in comic books, multiverses exist, no problem. So the macroverse is a laughing stock compared to like the amount of multiverses and dimensions and alternate dimensions that exist. So then you get like the Living Tribunal. Then you get like Eternity, Infinity, Madness. You get all those guys. Then you get like the Zeus, Odin, Thanos. Oh God. I'm just thinking of some of the other cosmic. Thane, his Lady Death. Pennywise would get his shit kicked. I mean, he'd be a dangerous foe, but he'd get his shit kicked in the Marvel Universe. And the DC Universe is no exception, because Scarecrow is just a normal human. Quite frankly, he's actually a very frail human. He's not a very physical combatant, unless you go with some of the animated series. But obviously, he's a master causing fear. His fear toxins have changed over time, inducing large amounts of fear onto individuals. Seeing as in this fight, Pennywise has to take a form of something and has to obey the laws of something, it's very possible that the fear toxin could work on Pennywise. The question is how powerful actually, because we know like Joker Venom could affect someone as strong as Superman. Now, whether or not the fear toxin is as strong as the Joker Venom is a different thing entirely. Fear toxin. Let's see about that. Fear toxin and Batman, or fear gas. Batman. How strong is Scarecrow's fear gas? And this is before we even get into the Yellow Lantern stuff. So let's see here now. Batman, the fear gas is a signature weapon. Showing personal and worst fears. That's not, but it's really just giving me the movies and stuff like that. Is Batman immune to fear toxins? What does Scarecrow fear? What is Batman afraid of? Actually, what does Scarecrow fear? Batman. That's basically it. So yeah. Okay, DC down. There we go. Scarecrow's fear toxin. All right, let's see if we can get a better idea how strong this actually is. When combined by Bane, Super Toxin A, Scarecrow, Clue Master. I don't think we've actually really seen him ever use it on really strong individuals, so we don't know the true limitations. But I would actually have to believe that if someone like Superman is capable of being affected by Joker's fear toxin, or by Joker Venom, I'd have to believe he's at least on some level capable of feeling the effects of the fear toxin as well. And then that being said, does that mean it affects Pennywise? Pennywise technically doesn't even have to breathe. So it's not so I don't know. I actually don't know that. But now we also have to take into consideration of the Yellow Lantern ring. Being that you're a being that can cause great fear, you can manifest your constructs into things that your opponent fears, things along those lines. Has all the powers of a Green Lantern ring. Pretty much, constructs, all that. You're focusing on fear more than anything else. And that's pretty much, it's essentially a Yellow Lantern who can also use fear toxin versus Pennywise, who would win. Let's say through shenanigans, Pennywise has wound up in, like universes combined, in DC Universe during the Black Knight saga where Scarecrow gets a Yellow Lantern ring. And Scarecrow's flying around the Yellow Lantern ring and winds up in Derry, Maine. He's causing havoc. Pennywise doesn't like this. He doesn't even understand what's going on. So he, the fight actually ensues. Now, obviously, Scarecrow would probably be the one who goes on the aggressive, and tries to, attack him with some constructs. Now, let's be clear. A Green Lantern could probably dish out a solid blow to Pennywise, so long as they're not afraid of Pennywise. And because the construct is it's just energy. It's just an energy. So he's going to probably knock Pennywise around quite a bit. And Pennywise is just going to get pissed off by it for a little bit. Though I'll refer to Pennywise as a he just because it's depicted as such. Pennywise is going to get pissed off. Like, and then starts turning, then like tries to focus. Here's the thing. Trying to focus and figure out what Scarecrow was afraid of might be effective if it wasn't for the fact that, and let me be 100% certain on this because I'm almost positive that the yellow lantern rings have pretty much a similar, most of the lantern rings have this very similar effect to the rest. They each have a unique ability to them, honestly, with the exception of the green lanterns, now that I think about it. 1 second, if I'm not mistaken, invisible light direction, wormhole time travel, limited cyber channel, extra meditation, ring duplication, homing beacon, mind alteration, as the power really relies on the thought and will operate, mind tampering is not impossible. The real difficulty lies in properly applying the power. There lies a risk of catastrophic damage to the mind should mistakes be made. A wielder can use the power ring to erase portions of a individual's memory. Most of the time, and let me double check if the Green Lantern ring has this ability over the Yellow Lantern ring. Because if I'm not mistaken, I know that the Green Lantern ring does actually give you protection from telepathy on a certain level. And that's basically based on your will. Mind alteration. Universe not made out of material alteration. Ring duplication. Energy mind alteration. Pocket dimension. Secure protocol. Hopes compassion absorption. Okay, so they don't mention it, but we know from the comics that Green Lantern rings give you a certain level of protection from mental telepathy or powerful telepathy and like mind reading. I would imagine that a Yellow Lantern ring, because despite the fact it's powered by your ability to still fear, it's still powered by your willpower. It does the same thing. So Pennywise, if Pennywise could turn into Batman and scare the living piss out of Scarecrow and take advantage of that, if he could get into Scarecrow's mind, but because the ring does protect him to some degree from telepathy and like gaining information from his thoughts, I don't think Pennywise could gain it. I mean, we don't know how strong Pennywise's telepathy actually is because he can't actually read thoughts. He can just glean emotions and kind of pinpoint what you're afraid of. So it's clear that while it does have telepathy, it's not a Professor X level of telepathy. It's not a Martian Manhunter level of telepathy, which means I don't think you can glean Scarecrow's fear right from the bat, which means this fight's quickly going to go into Scarecrow's favor because Pennywise can't turn into anything that scares Scarecrow. He can turn into anything he wants, technically speaking, and maybe he will just to try to beat the crap out of Scarecrow, but a Yellow Lantern ring, let's be completely honest here. Pennywise, from everything we've seen demonstrated by Pennywise, physically, Pennywise can't turn into anything that Scarecrow couldn't handle with a Yellow Lantern ring. He turns into a giant spider, doesn't matter. Turns into Godzilla, for God's sake. That might do something, but the more this fight goes on and the less Scarecrow's afraid of them, the more that Pennywise's powers aren't going to function right. Now the big question here is the deadlights. That's going to be the de facto, does Pennywise win or not? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Pennywise really doesn't have to breathe. So, I mean, even though it has to obey the laws of the limitations, laws of what it's taking the form of, Pennywise, I don't think breathes because it's not really an extension. I mean, Pennywise itself probably does. Like, the actual being that Pennywise is, the glamour that it is, but the form it's taking, I don't think Pennywise is breathing. So, again, fear toxin probably doesn't actually work unless it can be absorbed through the skin, in which case then maybe it starts to mess with it a little bit, but I don't think it will work in this case. But again, the deadlights is our ultimate question. Do the deadlights affect Scarecrow like they would affect a normal person? So I will say this. If Scarecrow didn't have a Yellow Lantern ring, I would probably say yes to a lesser extent. And the problem with the deadlights in Pennywise going into any other universe is that in Stephen King's universe, despite all the stuff he has going on with Christine, the Dark Tower, the Macroverse, by all accounts, the Earth that we are usually set in is our Earth. It's the normal Earth. So because it's kind of an eldritch thing, our mind is like doesn't process. This thing's not supposed to exist. We can't comprehend that. In something like a Marvel or a DC or a Hellblazer, which is technically DC, or like an Alien versus Predator, or I'm just throwing things out here right now. Dark Horse, Freddy versus Jason comics, Valiant universe. In those universes, beings of supreme ability, power that shouldn't exist. So the humans of that world probably can comprehend it differently. That, like, your average person would still probably like go insane or die from looking at the deadlights. But normal supervillains, hell, Superman, for instance, could stare at the deadlights and probably be just freaking fine. Because he fights Darkseid, for God's sake. He fights Doomsday, Brainiac, lots of eldritch beings from like Dr. Fate's roster and stuff like that. Trigon, for God's sake. And the Yellow Lantern rings are kind of like, they're almost universal level weapons, but not quite. They're like they're like sub-universal. With a Yellow Lantern ring, I think Scarecrow would frankly be just fine. I think anyone with any lantern, well, okay, that's not entirely true. I'll take that back. Certain lantern rings might be more susceptible to the deadlights than others, but just because it's still fear-based. And it is still something that's like, warping your mind to some degree. But all the lantern rings provide some level of protection. So it's not going to drive you insane. It's not even going to kill you. It might make you not feel good. It might make you feel really uneasy. But ultimately, I think the deadlights don't work on anyone with a lantern ring, quite frankly. Just because of the protection mentally that the lantern ring gives you. And hell, again, because of the context of the DC universe itself, what these individuals will generally fight, or who these individuals generally fight, what they fight, aliens, monsters, beings that far exceed Pennywise or the Maturin or probably Gone in power. The strong as these guys are in their own universe, you take them and throw them against other individuals from other respective universes, they really don't match up well in terms of power. And I think that's the problem we're seeing here. If Scarecrow didn't have a Yellow Lantern ring, I would give this fight to Pennywise. Like, not 100%. I think there might be some circumstances, like maybe the fear toxin does affect him in some way. But ultimately, yeah, Pennywise would be a non-Yellow Lantern ring Scarecrow, no problem. With a Yellow Lantern ring, which is based on fear, yeah, no, Pennywise, I don't think can match up. Now, Pennywise would put up a fight, sure, no problem. And Pennywise wouldn't go down easy. It would be a gradual decrease in terms of how weak Pennywise was getting. And because it's a Yellow Lantern ring, he can turn into the fear. He can turn Pennywise's fears, which Pennywise does have a couple, against him. So ultimately, I gotta go Yellow Lantern ring Scarecrow in this. And again, I really think it comes down just to the fact that he has a lantern ring to begin with. Now again, if it were a different type of lantern ring, or a different individual with a lantern ring, maybe it would come out differently, like a Green Lantern whose willpower isn't strong enough to, like Hal Jordan has willpower so strong it overpowered the embodiment of willpower. How that works, I don't know. But other lanterns probably don't have as strong enough willpower as, say, Hal Jordan does. So Pennywise might be a better matchup to take those guys out than to take someone like Hal Jordan out. It could be the same way here. Someone with a different lantern ring could probably manage better or manage worse against Pennywise than Scarecrow. But because it's a Yellow Lantern ring, which is already based on fear, and Pennywise is capable of feeling fear, and that would probably work against Pennywise. Again, I gotta go Yellow Lantern ring. Scarecrow. I know it sounds like a cop-out, and maybe it is. Look, I'm sure I'm gonna get people who complain about the way I did this no matter what, so have at it. Rip me apart. I'm used to it at this point. Well, at least when it comes to a few of these characters. Pennywise, Jason, Mike Myers, and Dante. Those are like the big four who people always say, you don't know crap of what you're talking about, man. And the Eisen versus Madara fight. I had someone really not rip into me, but just go on an extended rant of why I was wrong. So, anyway. That's my thoughts on this fight. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm dead wrong. Maybe you do think I'm right. Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I just would win Star Wars Super Magic. What if? anything you do in the channel, put it in the comments below. Till then, thanks for watching. I got a what if to do, and I'm going to pre-record my who would win for tomorrow. Maybe even for Friday, too, now I talk about it. I'll see because I got the day off. Might as well do some preemptive stuff. Till then, thanks for watching. See you later.